The breakup text was meant for my cheating ex, but when the reply came back, "You are mine to love now," I realized I'd just declared myself available to the most dangerous man in Seoul. And he wasn't asking permission. Before we dive into this wild, emotional ride, if you love stories about accidental encounters, possessive mafia bosses who claim what's theirs, and women who accidentally stumble into the arms of danger, smash that like button. Drop a comment telling me if you'd reply to that text or block the number immediately, and subscribe so you never miss these addictive Korean mafia romance stories. Now, let's begin. The wine bar was too loud, too bright, too full of couples who actually loved each other. I sat alone in the corner booth, my phone screen blurring through angry tears as I typed the message I should have sent months ago. "I'm done, Derek. Done being your secret. Done waiting while you choose her. I deserve someone who sees me as first choice, not convenient. Don't contact me again." I signed it with my name, Ayana, and my thumb hovered over his contact. Then, in my wine-fogged haze, I hit the number right above his. Some random contact I'd saved weeks ago after a wrong number text. Send. The regret was instant. I was about to delete it when 3 dots appeared on my screen. The reply made my heart stop. "You are mine to love now." I stared at those words, pulse racing. This wasn't Derek. This was someone else entirely. My fingers trembled as I typed back, "Wrong number, please ignore." But the response came immediately. I don't ignore a woman who knows her worth. Who is Derek, and where can I find him? The possessiveness in those words made my skin prickle. I typed quickly. "Who is this?" "Tai Jin. And you just became the most interesting thing to happen to me in years, Ayana." I froze. He knew my name because I'd signed my text. Of course, but the way he used it, like he was tasting it, claiming it, made something dangerous flutter in my chest. My phone buzzed again. "You're silent. Are you afraid or intrigued?" "Both," I typed back. And confused. "How do you know my name?" I immediately sent another message. "Actually, don't answer that. This is crazy. Goodbye." I put my phone face down on the table, determined to forget this bizarre interaction. But 30 seconds later, it buzzed. Then again. And again. When I flipped it over, my breath caught. He'd sent a photo. Of me. Sitting in this exact booth, wine glass in hand, taken from somewhere outside the bar. The angle suggested he was across the street watching. The next message appeared. "You look beautiful when you're trying to be brave." What would you do if a stranger replied like this? Run or stay curious? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Terror and something I didn't want to name flooded through me. I grabbed my purse, threw money on the table, and rushed outside into the cool Seoul night. The street was busy. Couples strolling, taxis honking, neon signs buzzing overhead. I scanned the crowd, heart hammering against my ribs. Then I saw him, leaning against a black Mercedes across the street, arms crossed, watching me with an intensity that made my knees weak. Even from 20 feet away, I could see the dark ink crawling up his neck, disappearing into his collar. His suit was perfectly tailored, expensive. His presence was magnetic and terrifying all at once. Our eyes locked. He pushed off the car and started walking toward me, each step deliberate, predatory. Like he had all the time in the world and knew I wouldn't run. I should have run. But my feet stayed planted on the sidewalk, my breath coming in short gasps as he closed the distance between us. Ayana. My name on his lips sounded like a claiming, a promise, a threat. He stopped 3 feet away, close enough that I caught his scent. Sandalwood and something darker, more dangerous. His eyes were obsidian, unreadable, but there was heat there. Possession. "You're stalking me," I managed. Proud my voice didn't shake. "That's illegal." His lips curved into a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "So is breaking hearts. Yet here we are. You don't know anything about me. I know you just freed yourself from someone who didn't deserve you." He tilted his head, studying me like I was a puzzle he intended to solve. I know you're scared, but standing your ground anyway. I know you haven't run yet. Maybe I'm calling the police. Are you? I wasn't. We both knew it. He took one step closer, and suddenly I could feel the heat radiating off him, see the way his jaw tightened like he was restraining himself from something. Go home, Ayana. Lock your doors. Pretend this never happened. His voice dropped to a whisper. But we both know you won't stop thinking about me. You're insane, I breathed. Probably. He reached out slowly, giving me time to move away. I didn't. His fingers brushed a strand of hair from my face, the touch so gentle it contradicted everything dangerous about him. But so is the fact that you're still here. Reality crashed in. I jerked back. Stay away from me. I turned and walked away, forcing myself not to run, not to look back, even though every cell in my body screamed at me to turn around. But I felt his eyes on me the entire way home. I woke to my phone buzzing at 3 a.m. The message from Taejin glowed in the darkness. Can't sleep either. I should have blocked the number. Any sane person would have. Instead, I'd spent the entire night replaying our encounter, his touch, that dark promise in his eyes. I typed back, "Stop texting me." His response came immediately. "I'm outside your building. There's someone watching your apartment. Don't panic. I'm handling it." My blood turned to ice. I threw off the covers and rushed to the window, peering through the blinds with shaking hands. Sure enough, a black Mercedes sat across the street, and further down, a suspicious sedan with tinted windows idled in the shadows. My phone rang. Against every instinct screaming at me to ignore it, I answered. "What's happening?" I whispered into the darkness of my bedroom. Derek has connections to some people who don't appreciate being told no. Taejin's voice was calm, controlled, like he was discussing the weather and not my potential murder. He made calls, said things about you that attracted the wrong attention. What did you do? Protected what's mine. I'm not yours. Pack a bag, Ayana. You're coming with me. Or you can stay there and explain to those men why you're worth their trouble. Your choice. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. This is insane. I don't even know you. You know enough. You have 5 minutes to decide. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, then at the sedan outside, then back at my phone. Every logical part of my brain screamed that going with a stranger was the worst possible choice. But the primitive part, the part that wanted to survive, remembered the cold certainty in Taejin's voice when he said he'd protect me. 10 minutes later, I was sliding into his Mercedes, my hastily packed overnight bag in the back seat, watching my apartment building disappear behind us. The car smelled like him. Leather and sandalwood and danger wrapped in expensive cologne. Where are we going? I asked, breaking the heavy silence. Somewhere safe. That's not an answer. He glanced at me, something almost like amusement flickering in his dark eyes. You'll see. His penthouse was everything I expected. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline, a modern furniture that probably cost more than my yearly salary, and security measures that would make a fortress jealous. I watched him punch in multiple codes, saw the armed guards stationed at strategic points. Guest room is down the hall, he said, setting my bag down gently. You'll be safe here. I turned to face him, suddenly aware we were completely alone in this massive space. Why are you doing this? You don't know me. He stepped closer, and despite the penthouse's size, the air felt too thin. Because the moment you sent that text, you became mine to protect. I didn't ask for this. No. His hand came up, cupping my face with surprising gentleness. His thumb traced my cheekbone, and I shivered. But you're here anyway. The air between us crackled with something electric, dangerous, inevitable. I should have stepped back, put distance between us. Instead, I leaned into his touch just slightly. His eyes darkened, pupils dilating. For a moment, I thought he might kiss me. Instead, he pulled back, jaw tight with restraint. Get some rest, Ayana. Tomorrow we deal with Derek. 3 days in Taejin's penthouse, and I was losing my mind. Not from captivity. He'd made it clear I could leave anytime I wanted. From proximity. Every accidental brush in the hallway sent electricity down my spine. Every shared meal where his eyes tracked my every movement made my pulse race. Every night I heard him pacing in his room, restless as I was, knowing he was just down the hall, sleepless and thinking about, what? Me? On the fourth morning, I found him in the kitchen, shirtless. I froze in the doorway, my mouth going dry. The dragon tattoo on his neck continued down his shoulder, wrapping around his bicep in intricate black and gray detail. More ink decorated his ribs, his chest. He was all lean muscle and dangerous beauty, and I couldn't look away. He glanced up from his coffee, catching me staring. A slow smile curved his lips. Coffee? I cleared my throat, forcing my eyes up to his face. I need to go home. I have work, a life. The penthouse door exploded inward. 3 men in dark suits stormed in, guns drawn and pointed directly at us. Tae-jin moved like lightning, his coffee cup shattering on the floor as he crossed the space and shoved me behind him. His body became my shield, one arm holding me back while his other hand moved to the small of his back where I knew he kept a gun. Min Tae-jin, the lead man sneered, his weapon trained on Tae-jin's chest. You made a mistake protecting this one. Chairman Park wants compensation for the disrespect you showed his son. Tell Chairman Park his son is a coward who hides behind daddy's money, Tae-jin said, his voice deadly calm despite the guns pointed at us. You're outnumbered. Am I? As if on cue, 6 men emerged from the shadows of the penthouse, Tae-jin's security team, armed and ready. They'd been there the whole time, invisible until needed. The standoff lasted only seconds, tension crackling like lightning about to strike. Then the intruders began backing toward the door, weapons still raised. But before they left, the leader's eyes found mine over Tae-jin's shoulder. This isn't over, sweetheart. You picked the wrong side. When they were gone and the door was secured, I realized I was shaking violently. Tae-jin turned, pulling me into his arms without asking permission. And I let him. God help me. I let him hold me while my world tilted on its axis, and nothing made sense anymore except the steady beat of his heart against my cheek. I'm sorry, he murmured into my hair, his lips brushing my temple. I should have anticipated this, should have had more security on you. Who are you really? I whispered against his bare chest, feeling the heat of his skin, the thunder of his pulse that matched my own. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, someone who's trying very hard not to fall for a woman who accidentally walked into my life. I pulled back to look at him, seeing vulnerability in those dark eyes for the first time. You're failing. So are you, he breathed. Do you think she should trust him or run while she still can? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. That night, neither of us pretended to sleep. I found him on the balcony after midnight, staring at the city lights spread out below like a blanket of stars. A glass of whiskey sat forgotten on the railing beside him. Can't sleep? I asked softly, stepping out into the cool air. He glanced over, and in the moonlight, he looked younger somehow. Less dangerous. More human. I keep thinking about what could have happened today if I'd been 5 minutes slower. I moved beside him, our shoulders almost touching. But you weren't. This time. He turned to face me fully, and the anguish in his eyes stole my breath. Ayana, you should be terrified of me, of this world I live in. I am. Then why are you still here? The question hung between us, heavy with meaning and possibility. I could have lied, should have lied. Instead, I told him the truth that had been burning in my chest for days. Because for the first time in my life, someone fought for me like I mattered. Not because I was convenient or available or easy, but because you chose to. You didn't have to protect me. You don't owe me anything, but you did it anyway. His hand came up, fingers tracing my jawline with heartbreaking gentleness. You matter more than you know. Tell me something real, I whispered, leaning into his touch. Something that isn't about protection or possession or whatever this dangerous game is. He was silent for so long, I thought he would answer. Then, I was engaged once, 5 years ago. Her name was Ji-yoon, and she was everything good in a world that had tried to make me cruel. His voice cracked slightly. She died because of my world, because I couldn't protect her from my enemies. They used her to get to me, and when I didn't give them what they wanted... He stopped, jaw clenched. I swore I'd never let anyone close again, that I'd never give my enemies that kind of leverage. And then you sent that text, and every wall I'd built started crumbling. My heart clenched. I reached up, my hand covering his where it still cradled my face. Tae-jin! I'm falling for you, Ayana, he said, the words raw and honest. And it terrifies me more than any enemy, any gun, any threat ever could. Because if something happens to you because of me, then fall, I breathed, rising on my toes to close the distance between us. I'll catch you. He kissed me then, soft and searching and desperate all at once, like I was oxygen and he'd been drowning. I melted into him, 3 days of tension and fear and electric attraction, igniting into something that felt inevitable. Like the universe had orchestrated that wrong text just to bring us to this moment, on this balcony under these stars. When we finally broke apart, breathless and trembling, he rested his forehead against mine. Stay, he whispered, not because you're in danger, not because I'm protecting you, stay because I need you. Okay, I said simply. Okay. I woke to an empty bed and a note on the pillow beside me. Business emergency, back tonight. Stay inside. Please. Titi? The please made me smile. For a dangerous Mafia boss, he could be surprisingly sweet. But it was the second message on my phone that destroyed everything. A video from an unknown number. My hands were still clumsy with sleep as I pressed play, not thinking, not suspecting. The video showed a warehouse, dark and industrial. And there was Tae-jin, gun in hand, standing over a man on his knees, Chairman Park, Derek's father. I watched in horror as Tae-jin pulled the trigger. Once, twice. The body crumpled to the concrete floor, blood pooling in the dim light. Tae-jin's face showed nothing. No remorse, no hesitation, no humanity. Just cold, calculated execution. Then Derek's voice, broken and raw with grief. He killed him, Ayana. My father is dead because of you. Because of that stupid text you sent. You brought a monster into our lives, and now my father is gone. Are you happy? Is this the man you're letting touch you? My hands shook so badly I dropped the phone. It clattered to the floor, but I could still hear Derek's sobs through the speaker. Bile rose in my throat. I'd known Tae-jin was dangerous. I'd known he'd lived in a violent world, but knowing it abstractly and seeing him execute someone in cold blood, was different. I spent the day packing mechanically, my mind numb. When Tae-jin came home that evening, I was standing by the door with my bag, coat already on. Ayana? His smile faded the moment he saw my face, the bags, the tears I couldn't stop. What happened? Are you hurt? Did you kill him? My voice sounded dead even to my own ears. Chairman Park? Did you kill him? His expression shuddered immediately, walls slamming back into place. Who told you? Did you? I screamed the words, months of fear and confusion and stupid, naive hope shattering. The silence was heavy, damning. He put a hit on you, Tae-jin finally said, his voice flat and emotionless. A real one. 5 million won to whoever brought him proof of your death. I did what I had to do to keep you safe. By becoming a murderer? Something dark and hurt flashed in his eyes. I've always been a murderer, Ayana. I told you what I am, what my world is. You just didn't want to see it because it was easier to play pretend. To imagine I was some misunderstood hero instead of exactly what I warned you I was. Tears streamed down my face, hot and endless. I can't be the reason someone dies. I can't live knowing that a man is dead because I sent a drunk text to the wrong number. Then what was this? He gestured between us, and I heard the hurt beneath his anger, the betrayal. What were those kisses on the balcony? Those promises? Was I just some exciting danger to you? A walk on the wild side before you went back to your safe, boring life? It was a mistake, I whispered. I watched something break in his eyes, something fundamental and irreparable. Get out, then. His voice was quiet now, more terrifying than when he'd shouted. If you think so little of me, of what we have, leave. Go back to your safe world where nobody dies and nobody fights, and nobody loves hard enough to kill for it. Taejin, please, go! The roar shook the penthouse, made the windows rattle, made me flinch backward. I grabbed my bag with shaking hands and ran. Ran from him, from the penthouse, from the feelings that were tearing me apart. My heart shattered with every step, leaving pieces of itself scattered behind me like breadcrumbs I'd never be able to follow back. 1 week without him felt like drowning in slow motion. I'd gone back to my apartment, back to my job, back to the life I'd lived before a wrong text had turned everything upside down. But nothing was the same. Food had no taste. Music had no meaning. Colors seemed duller. I moved through my days like a ghost, going through motions that felt increasingly pointless. Derek had called repeatedly, his voice sweet and apologetic, begging for another chance. Telling me he'd made a mistake, that he'd broken things off with his girlfriend, that he wanted to try again. I'd blocked him after the third call, something finally clicking in my brain. He'd sent that video. He'd timed it perfectly for when Taejin was gone. He'd orchestrated my guilt, my fear, my flight. Because Taejin had been right. His father had put a hit on me. Taejin had shown me the proof, the actual contract with my name on it before I'd stupidly run away. 5 million won for proof of death. My death. And Taejin had ended the threat the only way he knew how. I sat in my apartment on the 7th night staring at my phone, at Taejin's contact. My finger hovered over the call button, trembling. What if he didn't answer? What if he'd moved on, realized I wasn't worth the trouble? What if he hated me now for running, for not trusting him, for choosing fear over love? What if I'd thrown away the only person who'd ever truly seen me? I pressed call before I could lose my nerve. It rang once, twice. On the third ring, his voice came through rough and desperate. Ayana, are you safe? Are you hurt? Talk to me. I'm sorry, I whispered, tears falling hot and fast. I'm so sorry. I was scared and stupid, and I believed the worst because it was easier than accepting that someone like you could actually love someone like me. Where are you? Home, my apartment. Stay there. Don't move. I'm coming. The line went dead. 20 minutes later, pounding on my door that shook the frame. When I opened it, we just stared at each other across the threshold. Two broken people who'd found something real in the chaos and then destroyed it through fear. I love you, I said, the words tumbling out before I could stop them. I love you and I'm terrified, and I don't care if it's too soon or too dangerous or if the whole world thinks I'm crazy. I choose you. I choose this. I choose us. He pulled me into his arms so hard it hurt, crushing me, against his chest like he was afraid I'd disappear if he loosened his grip even slightly. I love you, he said into my hair, his voice breaking. God help me, I love you more than my own life. More than my empire, my revenge, my carefully constructed walls. You destroyed me, Ayana, and I'd let you do it again and again if it meant having you. Then don't let me go, I sobbed against his chest. Never again, never. 6 months later, I stood in our penthouse. I'd officially moved in 3 months ago, combining my books with his expensive art, my plants with his sleek furniture, watching the sunset paint Seoul in shades of gold and pink. Strong arms wrapped around me from behind. Tae-jin's chin resting on my shoulder, his breath warm against my neck. "Thinking about something?" he murmured, pressing a kiss to the spot just below my ear. I smiled, leaning back into his embrace. About a drunk text that changed everything. He turned me around in his arms, that dangerous smile I'd fallen for playing on his lips. Best wrong number ever sent. "You know what's crazy?" I said, looping my arms around his neck. "Derek's in prison now. Conspiracy, attempted murder, fraud. His father's entire empire collapsed in the investigation. And I'm here, with the man everyone warned me about, happier than I've ever been in my entire life." "You deserve happy," he said softly, pressing kisses to my forehead, my nose, my lips between words. "You deserve everything good this world has to offer." I pulled out my phone, scrolling to that first message, the one that had started everything. "You are mine to love now." "You kept your promise," I whispered, showing him the screen. He took my phone, his fingers moving across the keyboard. Then he turned it to show me his addition. "And you are mine to love forever." He kissed me then, deep and thorough and full of promises we'd both keep. Outside, the city buzzed with life. Millions of people going about their evenings, unaware that somewhere in a penthouse overlooking it all, two people had found each other through impossible odds. The wrong text had led me to the right person, and I'd never been so grateful for a mistake in my entire life. So what did you think of Ayana and Tae-jin's journey? Would you have given him a second chance after seeing that video? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more addictive Korean mafia romance stories.